For those of you who are thinking this is all about a new SRAM motor, well, it's not. This is about a new system where the drive unit is but one part of the hardware. So yes, it's true, you do have the basics such as the motor, the battery, the display, the software, and of course other things such as how much power the bike gives you, the wiring harness. It actually goes many steps further than that. Routes, nature's very own feeding zone of mountain bikers. And yet this tangle is also a puzzle, a challenge at the very heart of anyone who loves the essence of EMTB. And this then is the all-new SRAM Eagle Powertrain, designed to enable you to engage predator mode in places where shoving and shifting don't always go hand in hand. Where the new Eagle Powertrain sets itself apart from some other systems is that it introduces major new features such as auto shift and coast shift, whilst integrating itself into SRAM's AXS wireless technology and Eagle transmission. Eagle Transmission is the wireless group set which comprises of the cassette, the derailleur, the chainring, the cranks, and that then introduces AXS technology. So you've got the AXS bridge display on the top tube and also the AXS pods, which kind of act like F1 paddles, so you can actually keep your hands on the grips while shifting. Not that you have to change gear with the new Eagle Powertrain, because it does introduce two very cool new features, which is auto shift and coast shift. There's a very definite stealth mood about this bike. Now, they say that an eagle never looks over its shoulder when on a hunt, and I think it's the same is true of riders. On a technical climb, there's simply no time for looking down at displays or fiddling with controls. It's straight ahead, clean, and silent. Haha, did you see I didn't use my hand for changing gear on that climb? Hence giving you a sneaky insight into auto shift. Time now then to turn our attention to the main features of Eagle Powertrain. The big news pieces then. Yes, there is a new drive unit powered by Brose, but there are no traditional assist modes. No eco, no trail, no boost, no turbo. Let you think about that for a minute. But there are two. There is range and there's rally. Both can be adjusted. So everything on this bike takes place via the AXS display and the pods. It's clean and it's simple. The wireless gearing now comes with added features integrated, which are auto shift, an amazing feature that keeps the rider in a consistent and comfortable cadence. Auto shift monitors cadence and makes shifts up and down the cassette without you having to push these pods. Then there is coast shift, which enables the chainring to move freely of the crank, allowing you to shift into any gear whilst coasting, which is great for switchbacks and descents. It also does it automatically. Then, of course, there's the AXS bridge display, which I'll show you around in a minute. Two batteries. They are SRAM batteries, 630 watt hour and 720 watt hour. They're light, they're simple, there's no extra baggage with them. And one final point is that Eagle drivetrain is EMTB specific. It is not made for commuting or trekking. It's a proper, legit off-road product. The SRAM want to put across the fact that they've taken a holistic approach with the Eagle Powertrain, but I don't actually want to go into holism because I think that's maybe for marketing, the fact that parts cannot live independently of the whole, because I think it's important to introduce the Nukeproof megawatt carbon 170mm travel front and rear, because to enable you to get the best out of Eagle Powertrain, such things as the geometry, the sizing, the suspension, you need a bike that's going to enable you to do that. So the SRAM engineers, the Nukeproof engineers, the athletes have all worked together to try and get the best out of Eagle Powertrain. Do you know what? I'm a bit conscious that this is becoming a little bit instruction manually, a little bit like a camera, when in actual fact, the operation is ludicrously simple. Let me give you a quick walk through the pod operation. On the left-hand side, remember this is wireless, so super clean front of house. On the left-hand side, you've got the top button, which is range or rally. Those are your two modes. On the bottom, you've got your seat dropper. And then if you push the top button again, that gives you your walk assist. So that's the left-hand side. Moving over onto the right-hand side, we now have inboard and outboard shifting, as on any Eagle drivetrain AXS. And then we have the top button. If you press the top button for longer, it gives you auto shift on or off. And then with auto shift on, you press the lower button, and this is possibly the most complicated piece. That will enable you to determine your cadence and how urgently or lazily auto shift operates. Hope that makes sense. It's worth mentioning that you can actually run powertrain with mechanical or Eagle AXS drivetrains, but you do lose the functionality of auto shift or coast shift if you don't run the Eagle transmission or T-type. Folks, I'm sad to say I can't give you too much information about the bike which is sporting the Eagle Powertrain. Obviously you can see it's a Nukeproof, possibly a megawatt, possibly carbon, possibly, well, it's 27.5. You can tell it's a full-on enduro style bike. I'm glad to tell you though that in a few days time, I'll give you the full lowdown of this very bike. Well, as the weather closes in, on cue here in the Alps, what can you say? Well, I really do believe that this is one of the most major technological advances in mountain biking in 20, 30 years. I just feel so happy that it's taken place on e-mountain bikes, enabling me to experience that. Remember folks, it's not just the Eagle Powertrain, there's lots of other parts involved, such as the buttery smooth Zeb fork on there, the incredible suspension design and vivid shock on this bike. For me, I think it's the simpleness of the setup of Eagle Powertrain which really is key. I think that cockpit area is as things should be. I think the only weakness now is actually the rider, because as we can see, SRAM really are pushing the tech forward. So super exciting times. Now, 3 last points to wrap things up. The first one is the AXS app. Now, this controls your on and off the bike experience. Lots of the metrics you can have after your ride, which are, in my eyes, equally enjoyable. Things such as the amount of power, your power that's been used. And also, on the bike, you control your pod setup on the bike. You'd have it left or right, any configuration you want to have. Secondly, I'm sure many of you want to know about that motor, which is powered by Brose. 680 watts peak power. That's a punchy motor and giving 90 newton meters of torque. And the final piece in the puzzle is the battery. 720 watt hours for the closed down tube, where the battery can actually still slip out of the bottom there, which is essential for such things as racing or if you're staying in a hotel. And also 630 watt hour battery for the open down tube system. So it's all in there, folks, that's for sure.